House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn is blaming some Democratic election losses on defunding the police movement.
We keep making that mistake, this foolishness about you got to be this progressive or that progressive. That phrase, defund the police, cost Jamie Harrison tremendously. Sloganeering kills people. Sloganeering destroys movements. Stop sloganeering.
Well, how about stop doing it? Here to react is the host of the Rubin Report and author of Don't Burn This Book, Think for Yourself in an Age of Unreason, Dave Rubin. Dave, now he says it. All he had to do was stand up to Kamala Harris, who was for defunding the police out in Los Angeles. They took millions out, as well as $1 billion out of the police budget in the NYPD, and millions out of Minneapolis. Now he speaks up.
Yeah, this is so typical of what has happened with the left and the sort of internal war between the progressives and whatever is left of a moderate Democrat. And I'm not really sure how much is left, although Clyburn's sort of taking the mantle right there. I mean, look, in effect, nobody except the radicals that want violence on the streets and that want mayhem, nobody besides that wants the police to be defunded. Even in places, in black communities where crime is high, they want more policing. I mean, there's a lot of evidence of this. You only want less policing if you want chaos. And I think the progressives, in many cases, they do want that chaos because they then think that that proves that somehow the state is racist, and that then that in essence is what allows them to run around and say America is so terrible, look at all of this. But the average person wants law and order. That's just very simple and easily understood by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if there's modernization of policing that could help things get better, everybody wants to do it. Provide the money for that. Extend time in the academy, whatever the cops say and whatever the experts reveal. By the way, in New York, front page, 2,400 people, officers have said, I quit. That's a 25% increase of all of last year, where so it is a run for the exits because they get no support from this terrible mayor. And if they were so bad, why didn't Jim Clyburn say this earlier? It would have meant a lot for the country. Meanwhile, yesterday, you would never know it, but the Judiciary Chairman, Lindsey Graham, asked Andy McCabe to come in and explain himself to what he was up to during the Russia probe in the 2016 election. Here's a little of what he gave and what he received.
If you knew then what you know now, would you have signed the warrant application in June of 2017 against Carter Page?
No, sir.
Did you mislead the FISA court?
I signed a package that included numerous factual errors.
General Flynn's been prosecuted for lying to the FBI. You lied to the FBI, and you aren't being prosecuted.
General Flynn's situation and mine have absolutely nothing in common. I never, ever intentionally misled the FBI.
You were fired for lying, were you not?
I was fired as the result of a deeply unfair and flawed IG investigation.
Unfair and flawed, which he referred to, that said that there was a reason for the investigation. What do you think?
I mean, McCabe got mauled yesterday. What you guys didn't show there was Ted Cruz absolutely grilling him about the Logan Act. And in essence, you know, this sort of reminds me of some of the hearings we've had on big tech and social media where, you know, the Senate brings people in, they grill them about things, but what are you going to actually do? So I'm sort of over the theatrics of this kind of stuff. Well, what are we going to actually do? Are we going to actually start arresting people? Are there going to be consequences, or are we going to just do the theater version of this? Because in essence, McCabe really screwed up here. And are we just going to talk about it, or does something actually happen?
And Dave, the other thing is they're all not telling the truth. At different times, they deny not knowing different things, so their stories don't intersect at all. And let's just take a look right now about how much time the other networks put into this. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, 0 minutes. No one covered it at all because the Russia thing just doesn't matter anymore. Can you believe it?
You know, Brian, one of the things I talk about in my book is that there's 4 types of fake news. A lot of people think that fake news is just a completely made-up story, or when the headline is different than the text of the story. But one of the types of fake news, and I think probably the most nefarious, the most dangerous type of fake news, is when the media won't show you something that goes against their narrative. And that is exactly what this is. It doesn't help MSNBC or CNN or even ABC or NBC. It doesn't help their narrative to talk about this story. So they just pretend that the hearings don't happen. And thus that leaves everyone sort of believing different things depending on what channel you watch. And that's a dangerous situation for a healthy democracy.
And all I can tell you is we're not sure what's going to happen to all these legal challenges. And it looks like Joe Biden did get more votes than the president as of right now, but the president got over 70 million votes despite all that negativity from all the other networks and all the big tech problems. Still, the American people pushed it aside and said, I'm still going for that guy. I think there's a lesson to be learned there, unless you want to ignore it. Dave Rubin, thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.